These 5 car brands have gone so downhill, they're now just a shadow of their former selves. Some brands like Porsche continue to stay true to their brand identity, making great cars year over year. Other brands though, like Maserati, can't seem to do it. Maserati used to be a rival to Ferrari, building incredibly beautiful cars like the A6G CS53, which is a mouthful, but it's an incredible car, or the 3500 GT. They were once even a great racing team, and even had a driver win the F1 World Championship. But those days are long behind them. There's a few reasons for this. The first is they've been tossed around a lot. Ownership of the company has traded hands around 6 times. With all this moving around, the passion behind the brand sort of gets lost a bit. One owner might have a certain vision for how the company should look, but then before any big changes take place, it gets sold again. Luckily, the brand has had some good owners who produced interesting cars like the Maserati Bi-Turbo under De Tomaso. More recently though, the brand has started to completely detach itself from its roots. They've started making cars to compete with Mercedes and BMW, which means leaning into the SUV market. Now, a lot of companies are doing this, but the problem is they aren't staying true to themselves. Porsche builds SUVs as well, but they still build the GT3 RS and plenty of other special models. Maserati has been relying almost solely on their SUV and sedan, and only recently started making real sports cars again with the MC20. So there is a tiny glimmer of hope. But one company that doesn't have that is Mitsubishi. They used to be a monster in rally, competing with brands like Subaru. And they also produced great street cars like the Evo, the 3000 GT, the Starion, the Galant, and the Eclipse. But go check their 2023 car lineup and it'll make you cry. All compact SUVs and hatchbacks. Literally nothing exciting. There's a few things to understand here. First, cars is only a tiny fraction of Mitsubishi's overall business. They make literally everything. Air conditioners, planes, aerospace technology. So cars is clearly not their main priority. On top of that, they made a similar mistake to Maserati, but they really messed it up worse. They stopped doing what worked in order to chase a larger market. Mitsubishi was killing it with the tuner crowd, making affordable cars that could easily be modified. But when sales slowed just a little bit, they pivoted, turning all their tuner cars into boring, dulled-down commuters, and changing their entire lineup to more practical cars. The second they did that, they gained new competitors. Toyota and Honda are the kings of this market, and Mitsubishi wasn't going to beat them, so they pretty much set themselves up for failure. I mean, how many new Mitsubishis do you really see driving around? For me, it's 0. But if you look at Toyotas and Hondas, there's so many of them. Another brand that's totally lost sight of their identity is Lancia. If you aren't a huge car person, there's a chance you haven't heard of them. They're a small Italian brand that used to build the most quirky yet stunning cars out there, like this Aurelia Spider. Similar to Mitsubishi, they competed in rally and even won quite a lot. Through this rally history, they created some awesome cars, like the 037 Stradale, the Stratos, and the Delta Integrale. Even when they made boring cars like this Thema, they threw a Ferrari V8 in it. So you get the point. They made really cool and interesting cars. But take a look at them now, and their cars are neither interesting nor cool. In fact, they pretty much make all their money off one single model, and for a good stretch of time, only sold rebadged Chryslers. That actually hurts my soul. It's sad to see a company get to that point, and one that really hurt me is Jaguar. Unlike the other brands we've talked about, Jaguar is still attached to its roots. They still make sports cars, they still have loud V8s, and the cars themselves aren't really that bad, even if they don't seem to sell that well. So for that, I'm thankful. But Jaguar used to look a lot different. They built true race cars that absolutely dominated in events like the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and even competed in the European Touring Car Championship. They once built a car so stunning that Enzo Ferrari himself called it the most beautiful car ever made. I understand that car companies at the end of the day care about profits. A company needs to make money, of course. That's the point. The issue here is that they're only focused on what will make money. Take Bugatti, for example. The company lost lots of money on every Veyron they made. It was a total failure if you look at it from a money lens. But its parent company, VW, can afford the loss. They make plenty of money. So they spend some of their profit in order to make something special and to keep the true Bugatti brand alive. I'm not saying Jaguar needs to do something so extreme. I don't know if they have deep enough pockets to even attempt that. But they could produce a few cars that honor the brand's history and maybe make them just a bit less money. Now, the last company never even had a chance to correct its problems. Pontiac was a true automotive powerhouse. They kind of created the muscle car category with the GTO. And they made other true American cars like the Trans Am and the G8. A lot of people don't remember Pontiac as a brand that actually made interesting cars. Most people just remember them for the 2000s dumpster fire that they became, with cars like the Aztec and the G6. And the brand, it never really recovered from this. When the financial crisis hit, GM needed to save itself, which meant giving the axe to some of its subsidiary brands. And guess who was thrown on the chopping block? Pontiac was crushed before they could even correct anything. If you like this video, subscribe.